All right, dude, I'm going to take you in live.
Good afternoon. Welcome to another edition of the GolfMonger Show. I'm your host, Brian Steff, and I am the GolfMonger. What a busy day we've got today on tap. We've got Charlie Hoffman getting his first win in 108 starts. We're going to talk, speaking of busy, we're going to talk pace of play. We got two angles we're going to look at it this way. Figure it's a good time of year to take on that. The USGA officials got some ideas of what they can do. I found a little interesting tidbit on a bit of technology that some courses are trying to put into play to monitor pace of play. Tiger Woods back in the news. I wrote a great funny post on sportsmonger.com on our golf page about Tiger not being happy with a particular article written by legendary golf writer Dan Jenkins in this month's edition of Golf Digest. The European guy, it looks like back in Dubai. Rory's off to a good start there, so we got a lot going on to get to today. But first off, I want to bring on the man behind the glass, our producer, Jeff Gilder, pushing the buttons, getting me on the air. Like I say every week, if our seats were in reverse, we wouldn't be on the air because I have no idea what he's doing back there. How you doing this morning, buddy?
Good, man. I hope you're doing well.
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Yeah.
It could be a little warmer out, but, you know.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you what.
We're not in Buffalo.
We're not in Buffalo, but it may as well be Buffalo to us here in Myrtle
To me,
Beach.
might as well be, yeah. Certainly I wouldn't be out on the golf course, although I'm sure there are people that are. But yeah, how about I heard on the radio earlier today that they're still contemplating maybe not playing the NFL game.
Really? I hadn't heard that.
They're up to like 6 feet of snow in certain areas. Here's the thing, though. The weather patterns up there are kind of weird. There are parts of Buffalo that don't have any snow.
Yeah, Kay talked to her some of her relatives that live up in that area, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
Just a short distance away, there's none.
Well, the 2 nights ago, the Buffalo Sabres, the NHL, where their arena is, there's no snow.
Huh.
But they showed highlights on SportsCenter, and the place was only a third full because obviously other parts, there's so much snow people can't get.
Yeah, they can't get there.
Can't get to the game. The stadium there in Buffalo, Ralph Wilson, is under snow. I mean, it's 5 feet of snow in the stadium. They're offering people $10 an hour and free tickets to an upcoming game to come out and shovel out the stadium.
Holy cow.
Yeah, they've done that in Green Bay in the past. They did it last week in Minnesota for the Ohio State-Minnesota game. They were paying people $10 an hour to come help shovel out the seating area so that you could – and Commissioner Goodell hasn't committed to it yet. The mayor of Buffalo's like, I don't think we should play. But again, it's not his call. But it would be interesting to see if they pull that off. Could you imagine if it was like somebody like San Diego or Miami going up to play in Buffalo this week? I mean, at least it's the Jets.
Yeah.
You know, it's the Jets. They're kind of used to it. But certainly anybody out there listening that's in those areas that's been heavy impacted with snow, hope you're doing all right. Stay warm, dig yourself out, and let us bring you into the world of golf and
just
pretend that it's golf weather.
Yeah, even though it is a little chilly outside for us, I haven't been out in a while. It's probably 50, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not bad now. The sun's nice and warm.
Yeah, and sun's shining, you know.
Yeah.
We got green grass. You know, there's still
We
leaves
do.
on the trees here, folks.
Yeah, almost.
Yeah.
Well, pretty much year round
Yeah.
there's leaves on the trees here.
Yeah.
So Charlie Hoffman gets the win at the OHL Classic down in Mexico this past week. The last official tour event for 2014. Even though it's now the 14-15 season, we're still on a little bit of what they call the silly season. There's some made-for-TV events and stuff like that we talked about a few weeks ago. We're not going to dig into that, how stupid they are, and nobody even cares. But the funny thing is, it's his third PGA Tour victory, and apparently he likes to spread them out.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about how Jimmy Walker did 3 in 4 months earlier in the year. Patrick Reed did like 3 in 8. Charlie don't like to do it that way.
No, it's too much pressure. Man.
Yeah. I guess he likes to win, and he likes to soak it in for a while.
Yeah.
Really enjoy it.
Spend his money.
And then, okay, well, maybe I need to start working towards another win.
Yeah.
He won his first one. 105 starts between number 1 and number 2. And 108 starts between number 2 and number 3.
Wow.
That's a long time between wins.
Yeah, it is.
But I think if you went out on the PGA Tour and said, okay, raise your hand if you'd like to have 3 tour wins right now, there'd be a lot of guys raising their hands. They don't care how long in between
no kidding.
times it starts it's been. But in fact, it's funny. He made a comment that his his oldest daughter, Claire, her name's Claire. He said, my last win was when Claire was in my wife's stomach. She's 4. It's a long time between wins.
Yeah.
And you don't think of Charlie as being an old player, because he's not really. But he's not one of the young 24, 25-year-olds, but he's not that old. He did cut his hair down a little bit. Did you notice that? It's not as it's not the giant mullet's not really hanging out the back. It's still a little long, but it's not as crazy as it was.
He's showing a little age.
He is. And he
maturity, I guess.
Yeah. And it wasn't he didn't cruise to victory.
No.
He wasn't he was started the day 3 shots back and shot 5 under. But it looked like what's the kid's name? Danny Lee was going to run away with it.
Yeah.
He birdied 7 holes on the front 9.
Unbelievable.
Or 7 holes in a row on the front 9. And then he went 3 over on the back, finished tied for 3rd. But Hoffman pulled it off. Was able to it's got to be nice when you can 2-putt for bogey on the 18th hole and win. So he won by 1 stroke, but he was cruising in. That's got to be a nice feeling to be able to do that and not have any of the pressure.
Yeah, I was just thinking through my mind there as you're mentioning that typically coming up to the 18th when you're in that position, there's a lot more pressure than that.
Well, the funny thing is he's got a 2-stroke lead, right? So what's he do off the tee? He put it to the point where he had to play left-handed backwards from next to a tree. You want to talk about adding undue pressure to yourself? You got a 2-stroke lead on the 18th tee, playing with the guy that you're tied with, or that you're ahead on, and he his second shot he had to play left-handed up against a tree and he had to play backwards. Then he missed the green.
That's a near choke.
Then he missed the green, then he hit it on the green, and then he chipped. Then he 2-putt.
Yeah.
Bogey. So good for him. I like Charlie. He should win more than he does. You always see his name lingering around the leaderboard, and he's a fun guy to watch. He's animated. He's got the wild, crazy hair.
Yeah, I haven't seen what his winnings are, but I'm sure he's made plenty of money.
Yeah, it's not like he's not a guy that's fallen off the tour.
Yeah,
got back. No, he's been around.
He's been in there making money.
Yeah, and you see his name, from time to time. Like I said, you see him on the board. He gets some top 20s and things like that. You would think that he probably should not go 100 starts between wins.
Yeah.
It seems like he'd be better. That he should be better than that. But he's off to a good start this year. He's got his win. He'll be back to Augusta for the first time since 2011. So good for him. Now he's off to the Hyundai Tournament Champions. Talk about getting under the gun, the very last event to get you into that.
Yeah,
he got it. It's kind of like winning the week before the Masters. Last chance, or winning the John Deere right before they go to the Open Championship. So good for him. I wanted to turn, first of all, before we get into this, I got several things to go over. Let's talk about Dan Jenkins' article with Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
If you don't pay attention to a lot of sports writing, Dan Jenkins is an older gentleman, and he's been writing for 30-some years, and he's like the best of the best, And apparently he's never been very fond of Tiger. They've had their odds and ends, and I guess Tiger's always refused to have a sit-down interview with him. Even though it's several requests, Tiger's never obliged. He's never been able to do that. So in this month's edition of Golf Digest, he wrote an article, and it was entitled My Fake Interview with Tiger. Because he couldn't get an interview with Tiger, so he decided to write an article like he did.
Right.
Now you got to figure this is Dan Jenkins has got to be close to 80 years old now. So he's writing this. He writes this article, and it's basically him interviewing Tiger. but he's giving the answers what he thinks Tiger would say, and they're all very short, one-word answers. You know, like it's not long drawn out, and it's making fun of Tiger. Let's not cut it. You know, let's not dance around the bush. He's making fun of Tiger, and for whatever his motivation was, his reasons, we may never know. Me personally, I find it funny. I don't even care. You know, it's like, hey, he wants to make fun of Tiger or whatever. It's free country, go for it. You know, even Tiger had said, I mean, when he finally came back, I mean, he's pretty ticked off about it. But you know, part of his response was, listen, as athletes, you know, public figures, we understand we're under scrutiny and people are going to say things about us and whatever. He goes, but basically what he said is what Jenkins did is just a cowardly, like a cowardly attack on, you know, misrepresentation of my character or whatever. But you know, basically he just asked a bunch of silly questions,
Yeah.
and then gave even sillier answers, making Tiger look a little bit like a jerk. And I just, me personally, like I said, I thought it was kind of funny.
But when you're his age, you've earned the right to do that.
Well, you know what? And I don't disagree with you at all, because you're right. That's kind of one of those things. You know, I say this about my wife's grandfather's 89.
Yep.
My man can do whatever the hell he wants to.
Yeah, we should.
You live to be that long?
Yep.
More power to you. Do whatever you want to do. Yeah. Don't shoot anybody. Don't burn the house down. But pretty much do whatever you want to do. You know, you live that long, good for you. So Tiger came out and he's asking for a formal apology from Golf Digest and Jenkins, and he's never going to get it from Jenkins, first of all, and in my opinion. But it's just funny because he talks about different people in his past. You know, he's fired everybody but his agent. And one of the things says, "How come you haven't fired him yet?" And Tiger's answer is, his fake answer is, "Well, I'll get around to it." You fired everybody but him. Why not him? And he's like, "I'll get." And the answer is, "I'll get around to it." It's funny. And Tiger comes out and releases a statement saying that he's not real happy. But yeah, like right here, one of the questions is, "Why did you turn down previous interviews to request me?" And he says, like Steiny says, his agent, "We have nothing to gain." Why haven't you fired him anyway? I'll get around to it. And then he says, "You fired him. Well, what's up with your nicknames?" And he comes up with giving people nicknames. It just gives bad answers. You might not recall this, but in 2001, you had won 6 majors. I predicted you doing 24. I was on a roll. Everybody predicted it. Is the answer he gives. And then he says, "You want to know the real reason I did? You had no competition aside from Phil and Ernie. The guys who finished second to you were people like Tom Kite, Sergio, Thomas Bjorn, Bob May, David Duvall, Chris DeMarco, Colin Montgomery, Woody Austin, Sean McKeel, and Rocco Media." Tiger says, "That's not a bad list." And he says, "Yeah, right. That's why I've been so busy keeping up with all their majors." And then his answer from Tiger says, "Hey, I would have been second in 6 majors. This means I could have won 20 by now, right?" And he says, "Yeah." And Dan Jenkins' answer is, "Yeah, you've been second to Rich Beam, Michael Campbell, Trevor Immelman, Y. Yang, Zach Johnson, and Angel Cabrera. You really want to bring that up?" And then his answer from Tiger says, "Guess not." Yeah. So, I mean, he's not really painting Tiger in a great light, but, So, yeah, Tiger came back. And my whole thing is, doesn't Tiger have a sense of humor?
Yeah.
Whether you want to take it a personal attack or not or whatnot. I mean, it's a time of year where there's not really anything going on in golf. I mean, the season's underway, but let's face it, it's not golf season. I just think it's funny. And then Tiger's gets all fired up with his response, and he's demanding formal apologies from not only Dan Jenkins but also Golf Digest for printing it in the first place. And I was reading on Twitter, and somebody's like, "I can't believe that the editors are to blame just as much as Dan Jenkins." And I'm like, whoa. When a sports writer like Dan Jenkins writes an article, there's probably not anybody even proofreading it.
Yeah.
He hands it in, they print it. Right? I mean, the guy's a legendary, he's a Hall of Fame golf writer. Don't question what he's writing.
Well, I mean, as an editor anyway, though, I mean, that's something that's going to get a lot of reads. Why wouldn't you?
What are we doing right now?
Yeah.
And what are people? Twitter was blowing up.
Yeah.
All the golf people. They've
Yeah.
talked about it. All the other golf websites are talking about it already. We're talking about it.
But it goes back to what you said. Where's the sense of humor here? Come on. Give me a break.
Yeah. He said Tiger's angry. Said Tiger takes issues with Jenkins' fictional and satirical interview with him. Did you read Jenkins' interview with me in the latest Golf Digest? I hope, because it wasn't me, writes Tiger. It was some jerk he created to pretend he was talking to me. And that's right, Jenkins faked an interview which fails as parody and is really more like a grudge-fueled piece of character assassination. Okay, Tiger. The title says, my, parentheses, fake interview with Tiger. If any moron out there read that and thought, holy crap, Tiger really gave these answers,
Yeah.
they're a bigger moron than I just said they were. But that's his response saying, did you read his interview? I hope not, because it wasn't me. No kidding. It was a satire.
Yeah.
It was comedy. Could you imagine if, like, governors and senators and mayors and presidents got mad every time somebody wrote a story that was a satire and fictional about them? They'd be mad every day. I mean, get over it. I mean, even Jenkins tweeted, he says, my next column for Tiger, defining parody and satire. I thought I let him off easy. I mean, if it's meant to be that, and it's not like he hit it.
Yeah.
It's meant to be that way. It's just ridiculous.
Well, I'm surprised that Tiger even responded with anything more than
that too. And that's why I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
The fact that he felt the need to come out and say something. Why?
I think that's probably an indication of where he's at right now.
Yeah.
He hasn't been able to be Tiger in quite some time.
Yeah. I think it's just a combination of everything.
Yeah.
I just found it really, really amusing. I mean, I wrote a funny blog post about it because right after reading about it, I saw something on Facebook from David Faraday's page, and it's an interview with Matt Kuchar.
Mm-hmm.
And he's talking about Kuchar being a jokester and having a joke played on him at a Georgia Tech event where he went to school, and then a prank that Kuchar played on Tiger at the President's Cup. Made it sound like, away from the course, Tiger's a jokester, fun, will, laugh, joke, play pranks with people. Well, it just was funny to me that I read this article that he's all pissed off about what Dan Jenkins wrote, but then I watch a video 3 minutes later where Kuchar's laughing and joking and telling Faraday about how funny Tiger is off the course and how much fun he has picking on people and making fun or whatever.
Right.
It's like, so make up your mind.
Yeah.
You either like to, so you're one of those kids that can give it but can't take it?
Mm-hmm.
So I did some extensive research to find out about that. So you have to read my post on sportsmonitor.com on our golf page. It's pretty funny. I put it up yesterday. I wrote it in about 6 minutes because it's just my article's as crazy as Jenkins's. It's just silly, but it was a lot of fun. We talked about this a few weeks ago. I want to switch gears here. Talk about pace of play.
Yep.
There's lots of ways you can go about this. People have lots of opinions, things like that. But there was a Pace of Play Symposium, the second annual one, held at USGA headquarters in New Jersey last week. And they were talking about the idea, exchanging thoughts and ideas of what you think, would be what are the problems and what's an easy way to fix it.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to fix golfers. If a guy plays slow, he plays slow. It's hard to manage that. So I guess they came about it a different way. And as you read through this, it's a full 2 or 3 page thing. I'm going to bring up some of the highlights because I agree with some of it. Might be hard to get some places to buy into it, but I do agree with it. Average round of golf in America takes 4 hours and 17 minutes, according to Lucius Rico, PhD, who analyzed over 40,000 rounds. 4 hours and 17 minutes. What do golf courses tell you? Please play in 4:15?
Yep.
Under 4:30? So wait a minute, why is that slow? 4:17 doesn't sound slow to me.
No.
The average time of the first group's out, 3:46.
Huh.
So that's skewing the average a little bit.
Yeah.
So now once you get into the busier time, it takes slower. But here's the reason he points that out. It's just like, his example is, it's just like on the highway. When there's no cars on the road, you drive faster. Rush hour, you're moving at a crawl. Their studies show that the most effective way to change courses, that some courses have done to change the pace of play and speed it up, is to increase your tee time intervals. So instead of every 8 minutes, 10 minutes, make it 12 minutes, 11, or, you know. The goes on to say here, the average golf course operates at 8-minute intervals. So it says moving tee times to 10-minute intervals costs a golf course roughly 15% in revenue, because fewer golfers can be accommodated on the tee sheet. And that right there, my friend, is why you won't see a lot of golf courses wanting to go to it.
Yeah.
But faster rounds mean the courses can play later in the day, like certain time, like in the off season when it's not summertime, or the daylight savings when it gets dark earlier. If the round is being played faster, you can actually tee off people later.
Right.
So you can make up those rounds. That, like, this time of year, you can't tee off anybody past 1 o'clock.
So now, I haven't seen this report, and I got to ask you the question.
Yeah.
Is that a theory, or is that proven?
This is just based on the number of rounds that he analyzed.
But I mean, but
and then there are some courses that have, and hold on, it gives a answer your question. It gives an average. Independence Golf Club in Midlothian, Virginia, shaved 45 minutes off its usual 5-hour round. Oh wait, that's course setup. Hold on. There was something in here that said about the spreading out the tee times puts the groups farther apart from each other.
right.
Which means the pace stays up because you're not standing around. He said the most effective change in 2014 on the LPGA Tour, the average round time was reduced by 14 minutes. And all they did was go from 10 to 11-minute intervals. Now, it's a little easier to govern on tour because you've got marshals out there, officials, but it's still a sampling of
That's interesting.
spread out the tee times a little bit more,
Yep.
and your pace of play is better. Golf courses are going to argue because, whoa, wait a minute. Now that's less golfers on the course. We're not making as much money. But how many golfers get so irritated because it takes so long to play they don't go back?
Yep. Oh, well, I think that's one of the prime reasons they don't.
And that's why golf is down, period.
Yeah.
Jesus, it takes so long to play.
Well,
we're standing around.
You're a fast player. Okay, you know what it's like to play with someone who plays slow. There's a group of guys I used to play with back in Tennessee, and two of the guys in the foursome, I stopped playing with them because I couldn't stand it.
Well, here's the thing, though.
I couldn't stand it.
There's a difference between playing with slow players and playing at a slow course.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it bothers me less to play with slow players than it does to play where I have to stand around waiting on all my shots. It irritates me less to stand on the green and watch a slow player take 5 minutes to line up a putt.
Yeah.
Than it does every time I want to hit the ball, I have to sit in the cart for 2 or 3 minutes waiting for my turn.
Yeah.
That irritates me less.
But one leads to the other.
Generally, it does.
Yeah.
You're right. Generally, it does. What it said, the faster rounds means the course can go later in the day, like we talked about. So you can add more twilight rates because you can tee off later. They can also operate with fewer carts. So there's on the surface, there's 15% less revenue coming in, but you probably have less cost going out because you don't need as many carts if you don't have as many groups on the course at the same time. So it's an exchange. But again, I look at it as, I might be able to get a few less golfers out every day. It's on paper, but the people are enjoying it and they're telling, wow, man, I played that course. It took us 4 hours to play.
Yep.
We played down the road last week. It took us 5. Well, what's the difference? Oh, they only do their tee times like it. Even if you don't know what the difference is, like maybe you didn't pay close enough attention, you don't know that the interval is what it is. It was great. We played 4 hours. Well, we're not going back to the other course takes 5. We're going to come back here.
And the other intangible that might lead to is getting the guy that had a good time to come back.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The intangible is I played this. I played course A last week in 4 hours and 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I played your course B, in 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I go back to course A next time. It's still 4 hours and 45 minutes. So I want to try your course again, and I play it in 4 hours again. Guess where I'm coming the next time?
Yeah.
Coming to your course. All things being equal, unless that course is just exponentially better, course A. But here's another thing. Course setup is the second most important factor, according to the research. Pete Rouillard, of Vice President of Golf Operations for the Sunbelt Golf Corporation, which manages the Robert Trent Jones Trail in Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
He says he pays his most attention to the tees on busy weekends. He's had success pushing back the tees on the par 5s and reachable par 4s to deter long hitters from waiting to go to the green.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And then you move up the tees on longer par 4s and on par 3s. So instead of having 195-yard par 3s, which the average golfer is going to hit one in every 10 times, you move them up to where you got shorter irons in your hand. Everybody's on the green. Everybody's two-putting, and boom, you're out.
Yep.
The whole transition, so it flows faster. So, sometimes think about it. You get those short par 5s, that's where you get bogged down.
Yeah.
If you can get there in 2, or one guy all it takes is one guy in your foursome to be a long hitter on a short par 5, and it slows your whole group down. If the group in front of you, say, doesn't have guys that can reach the green at 2, they take their 3 shots, 4 shots to get to the green. And you're standing out there waiting because one guy can reach, so everybody has to wait. I mean, you might be able to go ahead and hit and lay up if you're going to, but at the end of the day, the whole group can't move forward till they're done putting because he's trying to reach from 200 yards out or 240 out or whatever. Because, so what they do is the idea is on the long par 5s, move the tees back as far as you can for every set. So it stretches out the par 5s. And then also the very short par 4s, you move them back.
Now,
I like that for flow, but I can also see the other side of that. Because a long par 4 can slow play up because a hacker golfer, your average golfer that can't break 100.
Yeah.
You put them on a 410-yard par 4.
It's a 3-shot hole.
Yeah. So for them, they might play it longer as opposed to, playing it at 350 or 330 or whatever. But I do like the idea of stretching out the par 5.
I do too. And
because if nobody can get there from 2, then everybody's going to move along.
I think that another long-term effect, another intangible of that is going to be the fact that it's probably going to improve scoring.
Yes, and I like the idea of moving the tees on the par 5 back, and I like the idea of moving up the tees on the par 3.
Mm-hmm.
Make the par 3 shorter, make the par 5s longer. Spreads everybody out.
Yep.
Because you spend less time on the par 3, more time on the par 5.
Mm-hmm.
But it'll balance out because it keeps the flow.
Yep.
Because everybody's hitting. You hit your drive, then you have to hit your layup shot, and then you have to hit your third shot.
It's about the flow.
It's more about the flow than anything. But he said, and think about this. He said it's more about the flow. Andrew Tiger, PhD, says that Disney World has it figured out. They make you wait while you're on a ride. They make you wait while you think you're on the ride. Think about it.
Now say that again.
Disney World has it figured out.
Uh-huh.
They make you wait while you think you're on the ride. Think about the last time you were at Disney World. It was last year for me. I was thinking about this when I read it.
It's been 33 years.
But what they do, think about it. There's always something to do.
Oh, yeah.
Or look at, or even sometimes you're riding something that's quote unquote the line.
Yeah.
While you're waiting in line.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not just standing there staring at the person's head in the back of the head that's standing in front of you.
Right.
A round takes 4 hours and 18 minutes. A round that takes 4 hours and 18 minutes where you don't wait feels infinitely better than a round that takes the same amount of time where you wait for 18 minutes. That's true. Think about the times that you've never stopped. You've never had to wait for a group.
I know that's a pleasurable round.
And you think you're playing fast.
Yep.
Because you haven't stopped.
Yep.
And then I don't wear a watch. I don't look at the phone. I don't pay attention to the time I'm on the golf course.
Yeah.
You're on a leisurely Saturday round, and then you get to the clubhouse. You're done. You go inside. You look at the clock, or you pull your cell phone out and you look at it, and you're like, "You mean we were out there 4.5 hours?
Yeah.
Sure didn't seem like that." And there was never a group pushing you behind you.
Yep.
So you weren't like bogging anything. You weren't the group bogging it down.
Right.
It doesn't seem as long as opposed to when you're waiting every shot. even though it's the same amount of time.
Yep.
But here's another thing. Not only course setup, but the third thing that, and these are all things, by the way, if you follow the theme here, these are things that the courses can do. Because like I said, it's hard to fix the golfer.
Yep.
These are all things the courses can do. Midland Independence Golf Club in Midlothian, Virginia, shaved 45 minutes off of its usual 5-hour round. 45 minutes they shaved just by removing bunkers, making others less severe, and overall increasing the playability of the golf course by removing large swaths of rough and peeling back some of the other hazard areas. Basically, they made the course easier.
Yeah.
But there was a quote in here that says, the best players at the club say they've never had more fun playing. You still keep the challenge. Golfers like getting, but you increase the shot options. That's the key, increasing shot options. You can make a course hard without having a bunch of crap on there, just by tee box location and design. You don't have to put fairway bunkers everywhere and big pot bunkers and high grass and it doesn't have to be the U.S. Open, to be hard.
Mm-hmm.
But that's another thing. You think about it, playing. Where do you lose time on the golf course sometimes? Looking for a ball in the hazard, high rough. You think you hit a good tee ball, you get out there and you're in the middle of a bunker in the middle of the fairway. Things like that the average golfer can't avoid.
Yep.
Pare that back a little bit, and the good golfers will still have a challenge. But it opens up the layup. Let's face it, a fairway bunker at 200 yards is the worst thing in the world for your average hacker, because that's all the farther they're hitting it off the tee anyway. Now, for a lower handicap guy, that doesn't even come into play.
Yeah. Yeah, he's going to blow it
So
back.
if you remove that bunker, doesn't make it easier for the lower handicap guy.
So it doesn't affect him at all.
Because his ball's carrying it in the air anyway.
Yep.
But it makes it easier for the high handicapper.
Yep.
So they play faster. So it speeds up the whole thing. So, depending on where you have your hazards, let's face it, the average hacker, like we just said, 200 yards off the tee, that's all they're hitting it. Yep. 200 to 220, that's it.
And it'd be interesting to see the other side of that, too, is as far as what they may have saved in maintenance cost. Because there's definitely a savings there.
That's it, too. Listen, I'm a proponent, and I've said this before. I don't know if I've said it here on our show here, the GolfMonger Show, but I've said it on my old radio show here in Myrtle Beach. I've said it on my blog site. I'm just talking about Myrtle Beach. I think all these courses, get rid of your cart paths. Get rid of your cart paths.
Yeah.
Especially with down here, majority of the courses, the sandy soil.
Yeah, you've got sand. Yeah.
Get rid of your cart paths. Make waste areas.
Mm-hmm.
You can play out of it. You can ground your club in it. You can drive anywhere, so it speeds up play because you're not worried about cart path only in the bad weather or whatever. Get rid of it. It opens up play. You don't have people complaining. You're not beating up your golf carts because the roots have grown up through the cart path. I'm not saying if you have fine cart paths, spend hundreds of $1,000 tearing them up.
Yeah.
But if you're a golf course in Myrtle Beach or anywhere, well, especially here because of the soil, that your cart paths beat up and you're like, man, we really need to fix them, don't. Take them out. Keep them around the tee boxes and the greens. That's it.
Yep.
Take them out everywhere else and ride the fairway and make it like waste area. Almost like through the green type. Where you can ground your club anywhere. The courses that do that seem to have less problems, and you play is much smoother. They're the busy ones when it rains.
Yeah.
Because people don't have to worry about cart path only. So maintenance costs go way down. That all falls in together.
Yeah, just the word cart path only is a deterrent.
Terrifies people.
Yeah.
And and you always laugh because, of course, when it's cart path only, you always hit it opposite side of the fairway than the cart path.
Yep.
When it's on the right, you pull it left. When it's on the left, you slice it right. Never
Always
fails.
happens. Yep.
So the three things that they're saying, out of this, what came out of this symposium that the USGA had is increased tee time intervals, tee box like course setup, and then your slight redesigns. With like trimming back your hazards, or just making them less severe. You don't have to get rid of them. Instead of a pot bunker, make it a more shallow bunker.
Yeah.
Instead of making it a 20-foot round bunker, make it a 10-foot round bunker.
Or
you know,
if
just
you got a bunker out there, take the sand out and grass it.
yeah. Or you know, and if the grass you normally keep it at 4 feet high, cut it down to a foot. You know, make it easier for people to find their balls if they hit it.
Yep.
You don't want to remove the challenge. Period. I'm not saying make it wide open plains and just go for it, but you'd be surprised. True Blue did that several years back here, where they trimmed back. It was so hard. It was taking forever to play there.
Yeah.
But it's a popular course. They trim back a lot of their fairway bunkers, a lot of their hazards and stuff, and it's still a tough challenge, but it's a much better playable course, and more people are playing it.
Yeah.
So there's no easy fix because slow players are still going to play slow. You know, you're still going to have your guys that imitate the pros too much and plumb bob a 2-foot putt.
And the guys that are playing from the back tees that don't need to be.
Yeah, you can't fix that. Yeah. So that's why I think they're coming up with these ideas that what they talked about. You know, so they're going to suggest out to their membership, the member courses, is control what you can control. You can have the ranger drive by all day long and yell at you, Jeff. Speed it up. You're falling behind. You're only going to play so fast.
Yeah.
Some guys are going to look at you and say, "Screw you! I paid my money. I'll play what I want to play." They're not going to do it. They're not going to move. They're not going to play faster. They're completely inconsiderate of other people.
There's another negative that you just mentioned there, and that has to do with the marshalling effect. Okay, because there's nothing about marshalling that anybody likes.
No, it's a necessary evil, though.
Yeah. Well, I just came from an area, and I won't mention it because I don't want to say anything negative on the radio about it. But we were playing a course out west, and we were a foursome. There's 2 threesomes ahead of us, and the marshal aggravated the crap out of us. He marshaled us to death to keep up with. You know, you're falling behind. You're falling behind. You're falling behind. You know, I mean, every other hole he was there telling us, guys, you're going to speed it up. And I looked, and we played the round in 4 hours and 10 minutes.
Was there anybody behind you waiting on you?
No.
Then it doesn't matter how far.
I know, but I'm just talking about the marshalling effect.
Right.
Okay?
That's a poor marshal.
Yep.
You only talk to a group if they're holding up people behind you.
Yep.
Not if you're falling behind the group in front of you.
Yeah.
Because they just may be faster players.
Yeah.
They may be better players.
The only thing he could say was there's a hole and a half open ahead of you. You got to pick it up. There are threesomes.
Now, if there's a hole and a half ahead of my group,
yeah,
and I'm in the fairway,
yep,
and I look back, and the guys have been standing on the tee box so long they're sitting down,
yep,
then I need to speed up.
Yeah.
But if you tell me there's a hole and a half gap between me and the group in front of us, and I turn around and look back, I'm in the fairway, and the group behind us is still putting,
yeah, yeah,
that's just bad marshalling.
Yeah,
and unfortunately, it's that you're as a marshal, ranger, whatever you want to call it, they're in a tough spot.
Yeah,
because you need to take everybody into consideration, but you can't be a jerk to the people you're trying to tell speed up.
Yeah.
You know
the bad news was everybody on our team was media, and we were there for a reason.
Yeah, see that? Then that's worse. Yeah. First of all, that's speaking of course management, that's poor management by their management.
Yeah.
They should have circled you guys on the tee sheet and told the marshal, be extra nice to these guys.
Yeah, well, he came up and says, I know you guys are part of the media thing, but.
Oh, really? He knew?
He knew.
Yeah. That's where you drop a little note in the pro's ear and say, hey, listen.
Yeah.
Dave the Ranger's a jerk.
Unfortunately, a couple of guys in our group, one of them does a lot of sports writing, wasn't so nice at the turn. I mean, he just blistered the pro over it. But all I'm saying is that anything that you can do to eliminate marshalling, extra marshalling, is good for the game.
Well, and
there's nothing about it that's positive.
Right. Well, and you're right. And there's also, you can't force players to play faster.
Yeah.
So you have to control what you can control.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think you can make it better by stretching out your tee times a little bit, do it.
Yeah.
If you move your tee boxes around a little bit, do it. If you can pare back your hazards and whatnot or whatever, do it.
Yeah.
And the easiest thing to do is just move the tee boxes.
Yeah.
Because you're not affecting anything else. If you don't want to make less tee time, so you're potentially losing revenue, fine. But I like the idea, the one that's zero cost, is just moving the tee boxes.
Making the par 5 longer.
Make the par 5 longer, the par 3 shorter. I don't know that I agree with moving the par 4.
Yeah.
Because then...
Well, very few people are... There are very few reachable par 4s for the amateur golfer, the average golfer.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you know what that is? If you have a set of tees on a par 4 that you can set at 280, don't.
Yeah, don't.
On a busy day.
Yeah.
When it's Tuesday afternoon and there's 16 groups out there, go ahead.
Yeah.
But on Saturday, when you have one available tee time for a twosome, Don't.
But a 280, 290 tee is so rare.
But it is. Well, I'm saying, but if you have that, even guys that only hit the ball 260 think, well, if I catch it right,
I might.
So I'm going to wait.
One day I hit the cart
there was
path.
this one time at band camp. Yeah. All you got to do is move it back to 320.
Yep.
And no one will even think about it.
Yep.
Because the funny thing is, as soon as the number has 2 in front of it, every amateur golfer thinks they have a chance.
Yep. Because one time in their life.
When I was 17, I could hit the ball 310.
Yep.
This hole's only 290.
Yep.
I think I can go
It could
for
happen.
It could happen. Dude, you're 45. You're not hitting it that. I haven't seen you hit it 300 yards without hitting it twice in 20 years.
Yeah.
Go ahead and hit.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. Other than that situation, I don't agree with moving the par 4.
I like that a lot. I really do.
Move the 5s back.
Yep.
You don't think about it. Like, why would making a hole longer help?
Yep.
But what it does is eliminates anybody from trying to go 4 and 2, so the groups are constantly moving.
Yep.
It's everybody hits their shots.
Well,
and
and that's one of the things that when you're behind a group and you see a guy who hasn't hit it 220 off the tee yet, waiting on the green.
Yeah.
When he's 250 out.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah,
here?
all day long he's been 220, 225 out off the tee.
Yeah. And he's waiting on the green. Come on, man.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
There's even times that, if I know I'm having a bad day and I'm at a range that I know I can hit, but I know today is not that day.
Yeah.
What I do is I take one less club just in case I make a mistake and hit it good.
Yeah.
I'm not hitting somebody in the head.
Yep.
And I hit anyway.
Yep.
I don't want to be that guy especially when it's busy.
Yeah.
Why? Well, my 3-wood goes 220. Well, today it ain't. I'm only hitting it 200.
Yep.
So why am I even going to try? I'm having a bad day today.
Well, and as a player, there's pressure on you when you're there and you're at the limit of your range, and you could. You know what I mean?
Well, and there is, especially if everybody else is hit.
Yeah.
And now everybody's waiting for you.
Yep. And you're thinking, well, I
can. And you look back.
Absolutely.
And there's guys on the tee. And you're like, okay, I got to put a good swing on this.
Yep.
And the average golfer crumbles under that pressure.
Absolutely true.
Crumbles. There's a reason that you can't break 100. Stop trying to go for the green on par 5s and 2 and when you're 225 out.
Well, one of the things that I have really taken to heart, we have Hugh Royer III, HR3, who does a lot of shows with us here. One of his favorite things is check your ego at the door.
Yeah.
For better golf, check your ego at the door.
Absolutely.
And that's probably some of the best advice we could ever take.
One of the hardest lessons most amateur golfers have, and let's face it, we're all men, we have big egos, we're all bigger, faster, stronger than we really are.
Yep.
At everything.
Yep.
And
the older we get, the better we were then.
Yes. If you are at your limit, take one more club.
Yep.
Like if you're at your limit for this club, take the next club.
Yep.
And don't worry about hitting it too hard, because chances are you probably aren't.
Yep.
And that's a lesson that as I've gotten older, it took me a while to learn.
Same here, brother.
Because I've always, for the majority of my golf life, I was a single digit handicap.
Yeah.
Between a 7 and a 10. So I know what I can hit my clubs, and I know I can juice one here or there extra long. But as I've gotten older, I'm still 10, 11, but I definitely don't hit the ball as far.
Yeah.
Or even as consistent.
Anytime you got to stand on one to do it.
Yeah. And what you got to understand, like what was hard for me, use myself as an example, is understanding today's not that day.
Yeah.
Like I'm not hitting it that good today. Mm-hmm. So 2 days ago when I played, I was feeling pretty good. Yeah, I hit 9-iron from here, from this kind of yardage a couple of times and was right on the stick.
Yep.
Today there's just something off in my game today. So you know what? I'm gonna hit 8-iron instead, and not think, well, I got to swing easier because it's more club. I'm gonna take the same swing.
Yep.
Because I'm not gonna get there. Problem is most your average amateur golfers they can't analyze their own game on the fly.
Yeah.
Again, all reasons why they can't break 100, but. I'm not hitting it that good today. I'm taking an extra club. So what? Who cares?
Yeah.
I laugh at myself all the time. I'm 40 years old. My bag looks like I'm 70. I don't have an iron in my. I don't have an iron in my bag above a 7-iron.
Yeah.
I fell in love with my hybrids, thanks to my friends at Razor Golf. I have a 27-degree hybrid. You know what that's like? That's like in the old days, like a 9-wood or an 11-wood.
Yeah.
Is what that is. You know,
How
where
long's
you'd
it been
laugh at
since
the
you saw
old
one of
guys.
those?
My pap used to play with those, and
Yeah.
when I was a teenager, he had like an 8-iron down, a 7-iron. He had my bag. He had a 7-iron down,
Yeah.
and then he had a bunch of head covers. I was like, the hell I had like 2 head covers on my bag. I had a driver and a 3-wood, and everything else was an iron.
Yep.
They didn't even have hybrids. You know, he had an 11-wood in his bag. I'm like, what the hell is that? I have a 21, a 24, and a 27-degree hybrid in my bag.
That's a coming change for my game, and I'd never played the hybrids until I had to use some rental clubs on a recent trip, and I started hitting the longer hybrids and stuff, and going, holy cow, I can still get the ball in the air.
Oh yeah, listen, I was never a good. It was an easy transition for me. I was never a good long iron hitter anyway.
Yep.
I was never very consistent.
Yeah.
I attribute part of that to I used to be a good bit longer off the tee.
Mm-hmm.
So generally speaking, I didn't hit a whole lot of long irons.
Yeah.
You know, I was a 5 and 6 iron down guy.
Yeah.
3 and 4 irons were never.
Yeah.
It was a crapshoot. If I had to put one of those in my hand, it was like, ugh, okay.
I haven't had a 3-iron in my bag in 20 years.
Oh, I haven't had one in probably in 10 years. Yeah, but so that part, the longer iron, like getting rid of the 3 and 4 iron to a 21-degree hybrid or whatever, was an easy transition for me.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't hit them anyway. As soon as I found hybrids started coming out, I tried a few of them. I found, this is awesome. I can get rid of those stupid clubs I can't hit anyway. The only thing they were good for was punching out of the trees. You know, if I had to keep something low, this is the only thing they were good for. But over the last 2 years, I've completely eliminated. I literally don't have an iron in my bag above a 7-iron.
Yeah.
I mean, my bag looks like I'm 70 years old. You go ahead and take all your long irons, and I'll take my bag of clubs, and we'll go out and play, and I'll put myself up against anybody.
Hey, my favorite club in my bag's my 7-wood.
I used to have a 7-wood that I loved.
I love my 7-wood.
The only reason I stopped hitting is I got the hybrids.
Yeah.
You know, but I had a 7-wood.
Well, I'm going to make
awesome.
that change this winter myself. I'm going to change my
Try,
setup.
man.
Yeah.
I tell you what, we'll go out and play. I'll let you try my shorter hybrids. I mean,
but I had taken some to the range and tried them, and just didn't feel it. But when I went out there and I didn't take my clubs, I had to play rentals, and the rentals had the hybrids in them. And I started hitting those things going, holy cow, this is what I've been missing.
you know what I like about it? Doesn't matter the lie.
Yeah.
Literally doesn't matter the lie.
Yeah.
It can be thick rough, can be hard pan.
Yep.
Doesn't make a difference. Mm-hmm. You can hit it. You know, you have to iron sometimes when the rough's too thick, you got to go shorter.
Absolutely.
When it's too hard pan, sometimes it's hard to hit a more with a you can hit a hybrid off the cart path.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You can hit it out of a foot of rough. It does not matter. Or to me anyway. Not to me anyway. I love it. I would recommend that anyway. And that's it. You know, and that's that all goes along with this. But those are things that the golf courses can't change.
Yep.
So I'm sure I like this list that the USGA.
Yeah, I like that too. I think
came up with.
I may borrow that from you and do an article for our site on that as well, because I think that's some really good stuff.
No, it really is, because they also came up with a little. We don't really have any time to go into this, but they came up with a little attachment to put on a flag stick that's got a sensor, and it's basically almost like a GPS isn't the right word, but it's a sensor that when the flag comes out of the hole, it goes off, and then when you put it back in the hole, it triggers it again. So it'll tell you, basically the idea behind it, and we'll talk more about this on another show, that it tells you how long it's been since the group finished on the green and put the flag back in, to the group behind them got to the green and took the flag out.
Oh, wow.
So you can sort of kind of track how the pace of play is going that day at that time.
Yeah.
So if you notice, like maybe you don't have rangers out there or marshals a lot. Maybe you just have one guy that's kind of more customer service than anything, and you realize, holy cow, between this group and this group, there's a 5-minute gap or 10-minute gap between the time that this group finished on the green and this one even pulled the flag, let alone finished. And then the other groups behind it, their intervals are much closer. We got to go out and talk to that group, see if we can't get them to close it up.
Yep.
That's interesting. That's technology, and there's a cost involved in that or whatever, but that's a different way. That's a way I'd never heard of before.
Yeah, it's cheaper than an extra ranger.
That's, an extra ranger, or totally loading up your carts with GPSs so you can tell where everybody's at every given moment. I mean, that's more expensive. This seems like one piece on every flag. So you need 18 of them. Probably 24, so you get a few extras, 2 dozen, and it's not obtrusive from the picture of it they had on the website. It's just a little, looks like a 6-inch. It's barely fatter than the flag.
Huh. Cool.
So as a golfer, you wouldn't even notice it.
Yep.
Other than, oh, look, they got something weird on the flag.
Yep.
And it's the sensor that's in the flag, so it goes off when you take it out of the cup. It kind of starts the timer, and you put it back in the cup, it starts it again. So one, it also tells you how long a group's screwing around on the green.
Yeah.
You know, holy cow, these 4 guys, it took them 6 minutes to putt.
Yep.
Are you kidding me? How many putts did they take, or how long are they? Was it Kevin Na out there putting? You know, and then it'll tell you how long it's been since that group put the flag in and left the green to coming up.
Yep.
The next group. So
Cool.
we'll get into that a little bit more another time. We're out of time today. It's been great. We went a bit longer than we normally do.
It's good stuff, though.
But there's a
Good
lot of
discussion.
good stuff going on. I just get into the pace of play thing, and
Yeah.
that's what really matters to a lot of golfers.
Yeah.
Who cares what?
I think it's a bigger issue than most people realize it is, and we see it a lot here because we're in a resort area.
We do.
And that 5-hour round turns into a 6-hour round, which is unbearable.
I would love to see, and I'd like to bring this up to some of our golf pro buddies.
Yep.
In the area and see what they think about some of these ideas, because it's things they can affect.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So, hey, thanks, Jeff. It's been a lot of fun today.
Yeah,
we're going to
absolutely.
run out of here real quick. Today's show has been brought to you and produced by the Zeus Network for golfdirector.com and sportsmonger.com. I'm your host, Brian. Have a great day, everybody. And remember, keep it in the short grass.
Good stuff, dude.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, I know we started going a little long, but that was